Rosie gets framed. James was full of himself as usual, and he always loved to show off. This made Rosie cross when James arrived at Knapford Station. "Can't you stop showing off?" she puffed. James pretended not to hear her until he left. Later at the yards, James and D199 were plotting to get back at Rosie. "How shall we do it, boss?" said D199. "I have a genius idea," said James. "Tonight, we take an oil tanker to the viaduct, your driver cuts a hole in it, and we go down the line until the oil is gone." "Excellent idea, boss," said D199. Their chance came that night. James and D199 came to a viaduct with an oil tanker. D199's driver got his axe and cut a hole into the tanker. Then they went away as fast as they can. The next day, Rosie was coming down the line with a train of tankers. "That's strange. I'm slipping, and I used up all my sand last winter," she puffed. By the time the oil on the tracks disappeared, it was too late. Omri was coming down the line with a freight train. She smashed into a flatbed, and the tankers flew everywhere. "Rosie, watch where you're going," puffed Omri crossly. This worried her very much as her driver went to telephone for help. That night at Vickerstown Sheds, Sir Topham Hatt was cross with Rosie. "You have caused a nasty accident by running into another train today," he boomed. "It's not my fault," Rosie said. "It's because a steamy and a diesel caused oil to spill onto the rails." "Nonsense. I'm taking away your red coat of paint until I get to the bottom of this," said Sir Topham Hatt. When Rosie chuffed into Knapford Station, she wasn't her usual chirpy self. Edward was there, and he felt bad for her. "What's wrong?" Edward asked. "Sir Topham Hatt has taken away my red coat of paint, even when the accident wasn't my fault," Rosie chuffed. "You know," said Edward, "whenever I get upset, I think happy thoughts, as well as my work." "That's not a bad idea," said Rosie. Rosie shunted 2 freight cars into a shed as Edward arrived. "I have something to show you," Edward puffed. And the 2 engines went away. After they got to the yards, Rosie was more cheerful than she had ever been. Sir Topham Hatt spoke severely to James and D199. "I am very disappointed in you two," he said. "You were behind the accident all along." The 2 engines felt bad for what they had done. For your punishment, Sir Topham Hatt continued, you both will shunt freight cars at Knapford Yards until I can trust the both of you to behave. James and D199 left without saying a word. Rosie, he said, since you worked hard all day today, you deserve a special treat tomorrow. Do you mean my red coat of paint back? Rosie asked. Yes, said Sir Topham Hatt. The next day, Rosie was repainted red. Edward was there to see her. You look so much better with that red coat of paint, puffed Edward. I sure do, puffed Rosie. I have a question for you. Can we be friends? Of course, puffed Edward. I love your red coat of paint better than your lavender one. Rosie agreed, and she puffed away with her new friend Edward. Smudger to the rescue! One day, Smudger and Peter Sam were resting in the sheds. So how did you survive? Peter Sam asked. Well, puffed Smudger, a few years after my old railway closed, I was lonely for a long time until some railway enthusiasts had me restored and turned me back into an engine. Just then, Sir Handel came to the sheds. He was rude. Huh, he puffed. Another mid-Sodor engine? Here? You are nothing but a generator. Stop being so rude, said Peter Sam. He's a different engine. Sir Handel took no notice of the two. Then, Rheneas came to see the two engines. Everything's going to be okay. He will get his comeuppance soon, he puffed. Sir Handel waited impatiently until he was allowed to leave. His driver had taken ill, and there wasn't a relief man available. Unknown to Sir Handel, his fireman had accidentally taken off the brakes and jumped clear. Omri and Duncan were exchanging passengers when Sir Handel rocketed by. What was that? Said Duncan curiously. Sir Handel had no one in control, and he was racing down the line at a very high speed. Going that fast would never suit his grace, puffed Duke as Sir Handel rocketed by. Oh no, I might end up crashing soon, puffed Sir Handel. Danger lay ahead. There were men working on a bridge, but they were warned about Sir Handel and his runaway slate cars full of slate. And soon the runaway train got to the bridge at 100 miles per hour. Sir Handel came off the rails and fell into a ditch. No one was hurt, and the brake van stayed on the tracks. Later, Smudger was shunting some coaches when his driver came. "Sir Handel has crashed," the driver said. "Go and help him." "All right," chuffed Smudger, and he raced away. When Smudger arrived at the scene of the disaster, he saw that Sir Handel felt very silly. We're getting you back on the rails," puffed Smudger. Then he buffered up to Sir Handel and puffed away. When they got to the sheds, Mr. Percival was there. "Good job, Smudger," he said. "You will get a new coat of paint straight away." Then he had stern words for Sir Handel. "You have been very rude to Smudger. He might be a generator to you, but he's now a really useful engine because he apologizes after he makes a mistake and tries his best. As a punishment for you," continued Mr. Percival, "after a relief man is found, you will be shunting cars at the stone quarry until I say otherwise." Sir Handel felt bad for what he had done, and before he left for the stone quarry, he apologized. "That's fine," said Smudger. "I accept your apology." And Sir Handel left. "Would you like to take over Sir Handel's trains while he's away?" Mr. Percival asked. "I would be honored to," puffed Smudger, and he set off for work. Smudger is happy now. He always does his work with ease and no fuss. And he takes extra pride in all the jobs he has. His passengers are kind to him, and the coaches are always friendly to him, and he's always a hard worker. The missing coach. Donald and Douglas are twins and had arrived from Scotland to help Sir Topham Hatt, but only one engine had been expected. The twins meant well, but did cause confusion. Sir Topham Hatt had given them numbers, Donald 9 and Douglas 10. But he was still planning to send one engine home. When the workmen went away, the twins were left alone in the shed. "Say, Dougie, did ya notice something?" asked Donald. "What is it, brother?" "The painters. They painted brand new numbers on our tenders, but they put none on us." "Ya mean," grinned Douglas, "that we could? Just that," chuckled Donald. "Hold your wish. Here's the inspector." "Now, Donald and Douglas," smiled the inspector. "Here's Duck. He'll show you around before you start work." The twins enjoyed themselves and were soon friends with Duck. They didn't mind what they did. They tackled freight trains and coaches easily. Once the twins had shunted them away, freight cars knew better than to try any tricks. "We like it fine here," said Donald. "That's good," smiled Duck. "But take my tip, watch out for Gordon, Henry, and James. They are sure to try some nonsense." Dinna fash yourself," chuckled Douglas. "We'll soon settle them." Donald and Douglas had deep-toned whistles. "They sound like buses," said Gordon. "Or ships," sniggered Henry. "Tugboat Annie, ha 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 ha," laughed Gordon. Donald and Douglas cruised up quietly, one on each side. "You two wouldn't be making fun of us, would you know?" asked Donald. Gordon and Henry jumped. They glanced nervously from side to side. No," said Gordon. No, certainly not," gasped Henry. "That's fine," said Douglas. "Now just mind the both of ya, and keep it that way." And that was the way Gordon and Henry kept it. Every day, punch at 3:30, Gordon steams with the Express. It is called the Wild Nor'Wester, and it is full of people from places like England, Wales, and Scotland. There is also a special coach for passengers traveling to places on Thomas's branch line. When the other coaches are taken away, engines have to remember to shunt the special coach to the bay platform. It does not wait there long. Thomas, with Annie and Clarabelle, comes hurrying from the junction to fetch it. Thomas is very proud of his special coach. One afternoon, Douglas helped Duck in the yards while Donald waited for a freight train to take to the other end of the line. As Duck was busy arranging Donald's cars, Douglas offered to take Gordon's coaches. Douglas was enjoying himself when an awful thought struck him. "I sure hope that Sir Topham Hatt doesn't find out I shouldn't be here. I couldn't risk going back." He was worried so much over this that he had forgotten about Thomas's special coach. He pushed the coaches with the other coach into the coach siding, then scrambled to join Donald at the water tower. As he went on, Thomas scampered by, whistling cheerfully. Soon, Thomas came fussing. "Where's my coach?" "Coach? What coach?" asked Donald. "My special coach that Gordon brings for me. It's gone. I must find it." He hurried away. "Oh, no," said Douglas. "I think I left the special coach with the others in the coach siding." Do you see that?" exclaimed Donald's driver. A mob of angry passengers erupted from the siding. "They're going to complain to Sir Topham Hatt. He'll be coming here next." "Quick, Dougie, take my freight train. I'll stay out here and deal with Sir Topham Hatt." "But what are you going to do?" "Don't worry, I have a plan. Just hurry and leave." While Donald was leaving, Sir Topham Hatt and 3 passengers walked toward Douglas, who, along with his crew, awaited innocent expressions. "Ah, Douglas, why have you not taken the freight train?" "My tender coupling broke, sir," lied Douglas. "So Donald had to take the train for me." The driver shown him the uncoupled tender. I see. Some defect, no doubt. Tell me, why did Donald leave so early? Put in... Maybe so, put in Douglas. He saw you coming and thought the train was running late. Said Sir Topham Hatt. He turned to the passengers. Here, gentlemen, are the facts. Douglas has been shunting in the yard. Your coach disappears. Donald, disappears too. Please accept my apologies. You can draw your own conclusions. The matter will be investigated. All of you, have a great day. Sir Topham Hatt watched the 3 passengers until they had climbed the station ramp. His shoulders twitched. He wiped his eyes. Douglas wondered if he was going to cry. He was not. He swung round suddenly. I don't know what you and your brother have been playing at, he said sternly, but I shall keep a closer eye on you two. I have to decide which one of you has to go home. Second chances. It was a glorious day on the island of Sodor, and every engine was working hard. Oftentimes, there is too much work, and that's when the railway gets a new engine to help. But it isn't made of money. One day, Sir Topham Hatt came to see Thomas and Emily. I'm pleased by your hard work, but you need help, he boomed. Thomas and Emily were very happy. This means we could get a new friend, she chuckled. Unfortunately, I don't have enough money to buy an engine, so I'm giving someone who's been here before a second chance. I will give you two one hint. He is a blue tender engine, and he left. Do you think it's Gordon? Asked Emily. No, he lives here on the island, said Thomas. Certainly it's not Edward, puffed Emily. I hear this blue tender engine is experimental. You don't mean? Puffed Thomas. Later at the sheds, Thomas and Emily saw a familiar-looking engine. It was 87546 in front of them. Hello, he puffed. I know you were rude when you first came, puffed Thomas. Emily told me about you, so get lost, you blue pig. This made 87546 cross. I am a reformed engine, he huffed. Get away from us, you idiot, puffed Emily. This made 87546 very sad, and he puffed away. Later, Sir Topham Hatt had some important jobs for Thomas and Emily. I want you two to take a freight train to the harbor, he said. Yes, sir, puffed Thomas and Emily. But remember, he said, if the both of you need any help, you can have 87546 do just that. Why him? Not Edward, Murdoch, or Henry, puffed Thomas and Emily crossly. I know 87546 was rude in the past, said Sir Topham Hatt, but he's a different engine now, and please be nice to him. Thomas and Emily left to collect their train. They were still cross when 87546 came to see them. Hello, he said. Thomas and Emily ignored him as they left with their train. 87546 was very sad. Those two are very mean, he groaned sadly. Thomas and Emily were still fuming. Why did 87546 have to come back here? Said Thomas. I know, puffed Emily. He's acting like a hypocrite now, added Thomas. Unknown to them, Emily was having trouble with her regulator. Oh no! They screamed as they raced down the tracks. They rocketed through the station at a tremendous amount of speed. The two engines came off the tracks and were very surprised. I'll get a telephone for help, said Emily's driver. Sir Topham Hatt soon got the call. 87546 is the only engine available. I'll send him straight away. Thomas and Emily were feeling bad for what they had done. I hope someone comes here to help us soon, puffed Thomas. Just then, 87546 arrived. Please help us, said Emily. Sure, he puffed. I'd be happy to help you two. With every puff and every huff, 87546 managed to pull Thomas and Emily to safety. Thank you, they said, and he took over the train. Sir Topham Hatt was cross with Thomas and Emily. You both have been nasty and mean to 87546. You will go and apologize to him immediately, he boomed. Yes, sir, they said sadly. Thomas and Emily came to see 87546 at Hilltop Yards. We're sorry we were mean to you, they puffed. That's fine, said 87546. I'm sorry for the way I acted when I first came. We forgive you, said Thomas and Emily. Just then, Emily realized something. I better get my passenger train. And she left. A short time later, Rosie arrived. Rosie, puffed Thomas, this is 87546. Before you ask, yes, he is nice nowadays. Hello, Rosie, puffed 87546. Hi, 87546, Rosie said back. The two engines decided to copy Thomas. Rosie Rosie and 87546 tried wishing like him. Rosie and 87546 tried wishing like him. They tried to whistle like him. This made Thomas so cross, he raced down the hill backwards. A few minutes later, 87546 reversed next to Rosie. You know, said 87546, since we both copied Thomas, can we be best friends? Oh, sure, puffed Rosie. From that day on, both she and 87546 were best friends.